Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm excited for today. I hope you are too. We're here for what you really need. Water is life. At the edge of what you remember from before this life is a numbness that's been created. It's not self-generated, but the door to feeling it is. Meaning either you can intentionally move in ways that change you, transform you over time, gradually kind of clearing away the vines over the door and learning to recognize how to open it. Or you can wait for, my inclination is to say, a mammoth life crisis of some sort, which will essentially blast through. Now, that's how I did it. Yet the guidance I've received is not necessarily the best of ways, but it's often what's necessary in a world that's just covered in vines. Today, we're talking about the entanglements that we live with between what you really want to be and what you have been and what the world gives you. And I'd like to start with an analogy of sorts. I live in a neighborhood that used to be full of Italian immigrants to the little town, Ithaca, New York. They settled next to each other in the block. And so there were pathways between the homes with little gates. Now they're mostly overgrown. We've tried to clear them. Hasn't fully worked. They planted grapes. They planted a lot of beautiful grapes. They're a Concord with seeds. For 2 years when we first got here, they gave us just a ton of grapes. A lot. The conditions were such that made sense. It was dry year. Apparently that's good for grapes. But it was also when we first got here. And I really experienced this sense that this gift from the past, these grapes that are all over the block that we live in, all these neighbors were friends, relatives likely. They planted these grapes together, and it's a reach from 100 years, reaching out of the past, giving us a present. And then they went sour. And they went sour year after year for 5 years in a row. They turned black. We talked to someone who knew how to manage grapes, and he basically said, yeah, you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this, but mostly they're really pretty old. When the pandemic came, we were locked at home in our beautiful yard. We were blessed in this way. And we'd spend 8 hours outside every day working on the garden, and we cleared spaces we hadn't cleared. And I was able to scrutinize this trellis the grapes were growing on more carefully. And it was weak. And we had a little boy. It was nerve-wracking to realize how weak this was, because we had literally let him rest under the arbor because it was full of shade. And this was not a safe place to be. Metal pipes, old wood, wire on 4 weak posts. So we determined to take it down. Yes, this is an analogy. We determined to take it down. And as I did, I was even more horrified because it was so weak. 3 of the 4 posts broke from the strength of my hands. The poles going over that were covered in vines. It was deeply covered in grapevines. It was just a thick net. And underneath all of that were these rusty pipes. Clearly, they'd made this beautiful trellis out of, whatever they had available. And it was kind of cool, but it was time for it to go. So I dug out the roots. I dug out the roots of the vines. I took down all the posts and the poles and the pipes and the wires. My son, 3 years old, helped me carry it. It was really sweet. We would pick it up together. We would pick up either end. It was super sweet, of pole after pole. We went slowly so he could help. And it was all gone. We've planted a lot of different things in that space. There's a sadness that is gone, but such a relief that the danger and the heaviness is not looming over our heads. Welcome, Cosmic Man. Angie, thank you for being here. Tom, much love. Thank you for being here. Street sweeper goes by. I'll take a moment to say I appreciate your presence more than anything. I appreciate that you're thinking through your friends. Who is it that might be blessed by the work we do here? Keep this in heart. I appreciate that you click like when you feel it. I appreciate that you remember that, because I don't like bugging you on it. It's got a little cloying. And I thank you. When you appreciate this space, it grows. I'd like to welcome everyone who's new. There's been more people arriving to Wildflower Fire in the past month than any month we've had, including I had some circumstances in the past, like that, I got an interview or said hi in a community and introduced my work, and I get a lot at once. This is more than that, and it's all momentum. It's all what we're doing together. And you do something with us when you pay attention. We're weaving spirit. We're creating, we're building a bonfire safely in a lighthouse to attract people into their hearts and the way of life that we're embracing. And as we do, we're confronting this almost inability to distinguish between the vines and what we're creating, the vines of the past. Now, perhaps you remember a time when the vines of the past gave you good fruit. Maybe you were younger. Maybe they still do every once in a while. So you're reaching, you're hoping, you're praying for a time when that will happen again. You can see a life in which you were sustained by this. We got 200 bunches of grapes, something absurd. It might not have been that much, but I remembered it as just this gigantic amount of grapes. We froze them on trays, but it only happened 2 seasons. For seasons after that, we'd see them growing. We'd see them budding. We'd see them getting close. I remember one year feeling like, oh, soon they'll be ready. Black rot got them. This is like an unfortunate depth of resonance with rats in cages. You teach them to go through a maze. If you give them something positive just once, they'll keep following that. They get sugar in their water. But if you give them something positive once every 10 times, they'll keep trying because they know it worked once. And they'll go to absurd lengths, repeating dysfunctional behavior, even pounding themselves against doors in the maze, if they know that once they got sugar when they did that. This is, in so many ways, our relationship to the past. Things have fed us in the past. And it's not, if you're honest, it's not really working that well. It's not as effective as you'd want it to be. But perhaps you don't know how to be honest with yourself through no fault of your own, but because we're surrounded by a dishonesty with the ability to scrutinize our relationship with ourself honestly enough to really sense the true consequences of our day-to-day habits and decisions. Yesterday, I noticed how badly we have a lilac bush growing next to where our grapes used to grow. These grapevines were torn down. We took down the trellis, but some of the roots escaped me. Not the oldest ones, some new ones had sprouted. And for a while we wanted to let them live, but they didn't grow grapes well for several years, and we decided, no, truly, this is a past we're cutting. Well, yesterday I realized they'd grown back all over this poor lilac bush, and the lilac bush was like netted in vines, heavy vines. And I went back to get behind them and under them to cut them where they're coming from the fence. And I was coughing and coughing. There was sickness there. There was a deep sickness in this space. And I felt sad that I neglected this for so long. And I found two very big vines reaching it. And I swore I did this several years ago. And I obviously was not attentive enough. And I got the whole net. And this lilac bush is just like, yesterday, it was so sick that I was afraid we'd have to cut it down. And today I went to say hello and it's singing to me. Singing thanks. And I was surprised. There's this vibrancy. It's been bearing these vines for a long time. It's got a strength to it. I could not feel the spirit in this plant yesterday. And today I do. Just today. This is what we need. This is what we need. This is what we need. And to begin with, I can tell you this only as a starting point, because ultimately it's incredibly jarring and overwhelming to rip the vines off. It's incredibly destabilizing just to learn to recognize that the vines aren't you. I'm embarrassed to admit that I'm looking down at this lilac bush. I walk right by it frequently. And I would say I was not clearly distinguishing between the lilac and these grapevines. They are very different. But it was just, it had become this like wild space. And I was like, oh, cool, it's wild. It was sick. It was sick. It was clearly sick. And I missed this sickness. I wasn't picking up on it. It was behind it in the corner. I wasn't tuning in. But it was sick. It was really sick. It'll take a while to fully recover. Is this you? Are you overlooking sickness that you bear as normal? It's devastating to stare at it because you do become more of it when you focus on it. It's more pleasant to avoid it. It's more pleasant to look at this or this or this, something else. But when it's right here, it's you. This is aspects of you are sick because you're laden with vines, with the tangled life force of something that's not you. These vines don't even grow in our yard. They grow in the neighbor's yard over a fence and grab onto the top of the lilac. It's not even you. Now look, resist the urge to just blame the people around you immediately. Don't do that. We're not talking about humans. We're talking about spaces, psychological spaces that we see spiritually. We see these spaces as they are only when we begin to differentiate what's what is you, and what are the expectations, the patterns of the past. The time you loved something when you were a kid, you haven't asked yourself, do you still? Do you break up with your heroes? Do you break up with your entertainment? Do you? Or do you just move on like it didn't happen? All right, look, Paul Simon, I get it. But honestly, after a while, it does become nice to have some closure, which means, yes, there are 50 ways to leave. But when you look back on your life and you stare at the past, what have you loved and did you say goodbye with care? These are often the vines. These things will keep growing in you. They don't stay still. The past is not still. Spiritual presence is, what I got is spiritual presence is livid with you for failing to recognize how much suffering you put up with is normal. But as soon as you listen, it just says get to work. It's not going to sit there and berate you. It's just trying to get your attention. Will you listen? Sarah, good morning. Thank you for being here. What do you need, guys? This is what I think you need. This is what Spirit tells me you need. What do you think you need? What do you know you need? Today is a day for more pauses for questions of any sort. I'm really, I'm present in a way that I appreciate. And if you have anything you're asking about in life, here, let me know. Telling you what I think you need, in some ways, it's my job because we're awakening this awareness of a spiritual dimension, and I'm here to help you learn how to navigate it. And until you differentiate the vines from the flowers that you're growing, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, look, one of the most crucial points of focus, shall we say, is this distinction bearing what you know of as normal. So the next step in saying don't blame your friends and family is you may have to say no to your friends and family. You may not want to watch the same TV show with them. You may not want to go to a water park. You might want to go somewhere else. You might want to say no to things you're not saying no to. And I want you to learn to interpret not the people, but the patterns as divines. The pattern of saying, entertainment, joy is doing this. When I want to give myself a treat, I go get an ice cream. Do you? I'm not telling you not to. As long as you still feel it, do it. When I think of getting ice cream these days, I mostly think of a bellyache. It's not always the case. I got here by saying, when I really want ice cream, I'll go get ice cream. And I did that enough to the point where I'm like, the last 5 times I got a bellyache. I mean, it's not like I learned after one, the last 5 times I've gotten a bellyache. I think it's going to make me happy. And then I do it and I go, Hi, Wild Sarah. Honor. Well, here we go. There are 2 monsters, 2 concerns I get to hold as a teacher, as a guide. One is to push you too hard. Another is not to push you enough. At a certain point, there's a dynamic emerging now, which is like, I can't dim my light for everyone who gets burned. It's up to you to find your right distance, right? I have for a long time been doing some of this. And so good. Like, this was my training. This is extended, all right? Extended. And when I embrace it as a joy, all makes sense. Particularly as I get the guidance now, it's like, be forewarned. You need to do this when you need to do this. I'm not here to determine that for you. Okay, we say this. I've said it again. Now let's take a breath together. What we're going to do is we're going to move through. Heart. Exhale. Crown. Exhale. Throat. Exhale. Sacral. Exhale. Nose tip. Exhale. Solar plexus. Exhale. Diamond eye. Lungs. Root. Chin. navel, third eye, heart. Breathe with your heart. Cosmic man, your timing is impeccable. Yes. Awakenings, breakthroughs, transformational times can always be begun, embraced, engaged as the vines of the past and the flowering bush of the future. It hurts because you identify as all of it at the moment, or even you identify as the vines without knowing how to identify as the flowering plant that you will be. Spirit grows the future before we experience it, which is why when we get ourselves into the feeling of an experience, we're helping to create it. And the most dramatic element of this dynamic is that we're actually tuning into the spiritual potential within ourselves and knowing it as ourselves. But this works a lot better when you stop thinking this is a complete open canvas. You can be whatever you want. You don't want to be whatever you want. And start appreciating your spirit in tune, your higher self, as many people know it. I would say your soul present as spirit in the center of what you are beyond this life, your spirit tree. It's already growing the future before it's happened. You tune into that and you can let the vines be peeled away. It doesn't hurt as much. But I mean, honestly, don't pray for no pain. It doesn't work. Now, I've got relatively high pain thresholds. I don't like pain. Just when it's there, I'm pretty decent at keeping my mind present. And can I change this in this moment? And do I want to? Now, once it works enough, you're like, pull that vine off. It hurts, but ooh, it feels good. Yes, I want to be free of this. You got to need it like that. Not when it's not time. You know, this is the dynamic, the Scylla and Charybdis of it. You need that. You need a hammer when you need a hammer. As you embrace what you're becoming more than who you were, it stops hurting because you're not identifying with the tension. You're saying goodbye. And the typical missing piece for many is to appreciate yourself. Likely as not, Mr. Cosmic Man in particular, tuning into you, so many of you agree that you have made progress in life. You have moved past old phases. I would suggest in a way that's somewhat dysfunctional, and you don't want to use it anymore, if you can help it. We don't strive to identify the past as gross or pathetic or shameful as, God, I can't believe I used to do that. That's heavy. What that does is it says, as soon as I change, as soon as I stop doing whatever that was I'm ashamed of, now I'm a judgmental, disdainful, self-hating person? Like, have you really achieved full victory? Now you've healed something. Good job. You've mastered something, perhaps, the ability to channel this force that used to override you. Awesome. You successfully set the intention to transform and you succeeded. You no longer engage in this addictive habit. Bless you for your strength and commitment. Can you appreciate that part of you that you left? Can you say, good for me. I lived that. I lived that and I changed that. I was wrestling with alligator muck, muck full of alligators. I was wrestling with it to become myself. I was struggling in the turmoil to know the difference between me and who I'm becoming. I was struggling in the turmoil to know the difference between what other people wanted me to be. And it just, and I learned to say no. And sometimes I smoked too much pot in order to get there. And sometimes I stayed up all night. And sometimes I didn't remember to say I love you to other people. And sometimes, wait, for sure, look at the sometimes. Look at the times that you would have hoped to be more loving to yourself, to be more loving to those you love. Look at these times, but not through eyes of shame. Look at them through the eyes of, that comes up again, I'd like to call. That time comes up again, I don't want to take seconds. It gives me a stomachache. Next time I get angry, maybe I don't want to blitz myself out. But sometimes people, oh goodness, people, you hold the shame because you think it's what keeps you from becoming something awful. Maybe the shame prodded you. Let it go. It's not helping you anymore. As long as you don't do non-consensual violatory practices in public or non-consensual violatory practices in your dreaming, like you're not dreaming for such things. I got you both. Then you get to rest in the trust that we learn in this. There is some level of fault tolerance. We get stuck. We say thank you. We say thank you for the chance to do it. And we say thank you to ourselves for living through it, learning how. The best way to say goodbye to some of the vines is to say thank you. You were beautiful. Thank you for being what I was. Trace the vines to where they were beautiful. No way of being insists on keeping itself alive unless it has a relationship to the beauty of being alive. Somewhere in the vine that you can trace into the past, follow the patterns that are still present with you and find the beauty in them. Typically, we fear to find the beauty in the past in such ways. Typically, we fear it because once you see the beauties, there's a habitual, oh, I got to bring that to life. I got to bring it back. No, you don't. Something can be gorgeous and you can say thank you and goodbye in the same breath. In fact, it's the best way. Oh, bless your heart. Anthony, I'm gonna pause and tune in. Peoples, I want to be more engaged here. I am open to doing readings or answering questions. Choose one or the other for the next half hour. I will not blast you with my insights on you unless you give me permission or even request it. And here I am. I am. We're getting ready, guys. We're getting ready. Listen, OG, I need you people. All right. 2 years ago, I was exposed to a lot more attention at once, and I could feel it. Like I could feel people watching me spiritually before things even happened in the real world. It was cool. It was exciting. And that's happening again. And it's more solid now. I need your help. You got to step up, folks. Whatever way works for you, you got to, I need you. Anthony, I would be honored to give you a reading. You have extraordinary clarity at the center of your lungs. Wow, man, just like foosh, you know what you need to do. Then there's baggage here and here. It's not as strong as you think. The baggage isn't as strong as you think. There's a little surrendering that needs to go on. Like you've got a clarity to what you want. And I would like let it be a little, let it breathe. You know, loosen up. But you're right. This is it. This is good. This is the seed. This is the heart of what you want to create. Just let it be changed. That's the message of this burden. It's almost not primarily a burden. It's just like life trying to say, dude, Anthony, you're so strong. Could you please dance with me? That's what life's trying to say. You got the message right. You got the calling right. You got the inspiration right. Now just like lift your head up, look around a little more. Yes. Yes. It's us, yo. It's us that can hold you this way. Here, not me, us. You know you feel it. Look. I just see you running in the forest. You've been doing this, I imagine. Oof. Look, people, not everyone is allowed to spend time in the forest. First of all, it's an honor these days. It's an honor because to stay in the forest and retain your humanity is a challenge. It's a core challenge. And this is respect for Anthony, who lives in the forest. And I want the rest of you to appreciate not everyone gets to live in the forest. And it's not a free pass. You have to be very present. You live in the forest, you start to feel animal patterns. Like, if I'm going to say this a little more slowly because I want to be present with what's the best way to communicate it. But animals watch you. They don't speak English. So they watch you and they ask questions directly at you about who you are. They do this. And it becomes a part of your subconscious thought process over time. So you're saying yes and no to actual presence. When you live in the forest surrounded by these presence, you're making a deep commitment to bring yourself back into your heart, to embody the passion and power and presence of someone who's in tune with nature, but to stay human. Anthony's allowed to be in the forest because he's accepted this challenge. I am honored to be a part of your process in that way, in this way, to support you in it, to remind you of the commitment of it, and to communicate to others. You should want more of this. Be present with why it's a challenging challenge. Gratitude to yourself, Anthony. You've come so far. You're too hard on yourself. You're focusing forward too much. Some of that energy of just like rest into like, dude, let yourself integrate these changes. Let yourself integrate the changes the past several years and appreciate them. It's not an egoic gesture. Don't let it be. You're appreciating yourself. Like, look at what you've changed. Look at how far you've come. And more prayers as questions. Definitely for you. Frame your challenge as a question. Hold it for a week without complaining if you don't get a clear answer. It's the holding of the question clearly, which creates space and resonance to receive the answer. Angie, reading. You think too much for other people. You think too much for other people. I encourage you to hold the quest, Sean. What is the best challenge that I can be present with for each person I love? There's always this urge on other people's part to ask someone who's strong to hold their burdens, particularly if the strength is not fully recognized and respected as it should be. So to turn around and go, hey, I'm not just going to hold this for you. What can you hold for yourself? Now, this is like when you're trying to embody a difficult yoga pose, use the wall. Use the wall, okay? You want to use the wall. And when you use the wall, what you're doing is you're allowing your body to focus on some challenges before you focus on others. This is wise at any level of experience in any challenge in existence. If you can set yourself up to build strength through your shoulders without worrying about balancing, build the strength through your shoulders, then add balancing. Use the support. This is what you are for others. Tell them you're not going to do it all for them, but they can use your support. You will help them support themselves into being a stronger person. They can't go on autopilot. So what's the right challenge that they're ready for? What's the right focused level of responsibility you can push back on people? Because you want to support them. Just too much. Your whole head is a cloud of community need. Whew, that's better. See, you just made a shift. Angie just made the shift. You lit the seed fire of what would push this and calm this. All you have to do is trust that over time. And it works. You already did it. You already accomplished the difficult part. Right there. I know you can do it. So just remind yourself, this fog is lifted by the piercing prayer, the much more present prayer. to challenge people to do what they really need to do. Now you, whew, there, a density under there. Oh my goodness. In your mind, a density. So the deeper way of saying what I just said is people in a panic can come to you with their spirit and just plow into you, and they have a terrifying karma for whatever reason. Suffering's in it. This is universal. It's a pattern. And they can come to you with this pain. And if you catch it and slow it down and give it back to them intentionally, you've done them an enormous favor and blessing. For many empathic people who are not fully versed in how these patterns work, you're used to taking on other people's burdens and experiencing like, I can't push this back on them. That isn't loving. This is my blankety blank. I love them, therefore this is what I do for them. And I want to reframe this as, yes, when you will keep receiving them when they plow into you with their spirit. And you're catching them like you're becoming the bigger and the bigger and the bigger marshmallow of love that's just going to go whoosh, but there's strength in this. You're going whoosh, but then you're claiming the tone and the initiative, and you're saying, we're going to calm this down. And then you're saying, you need to hold you. And you're doing this. And then you're saying, I'll do this with you. You need to hold you. Yeah, maybe if you freak out again in a week or two, I'll catch you again. And then we're going to go back to this. You're not giving up on them to say this. You're blessing them. You are helping them learn the strength it takes to handle themselves, to hold themselves. And that is a far greater blessing than sitting around bearing other people's burdens for them to the point where they get weak and shallow and can't face those challenges when you're not around. Not good for anybody. You got to be committed to respecting yourself when you suffer and recognizing that's not just a sign to change it for you. That's a sign that maybe you're bearing too much for other people in a way that's not good for them because they're not learning what they need to do differently, deeper, more strength, more presence, more awareness. What is it they need to develop that will help them handle and hold themselves? Hold that quest for each person. And if you do this for a while, you'll begin to feel the difference in you and everyone around you in a much more, it's special. Something else. Oh, look at that. Third eye, much better. Now there's just so much power in it. Yeah, chill out that, but it's amazing. Your navel's reaching your third eye. Like this is the whole like Joe Dispenza's meditations do like, and if you want to go deeper into this, he's your guy. There's this squeezing up and moving energy from your root through into your navel, special transition, center of power. You can kind of change things in your navel once you open the channel through your roots that draws it. Then it's drawn up and through your heart. Now you could stop at each chakra. You don't need to. And you move through the heart to the third eye. And when you're getting heart energy to connect with third eye energy, you're in coherence with your natural spirit. Angie just did that. It reached all the way. Whew. And then you're calculating gratitude, appreciation, love, compassion. You're tuning your third eye, your thoughts, your active focus of your third eye centers with the intention, the possibility of creating attunement with your love. What if your thoughts followed your love? What if your thoughts followed your love? What if you stopped questioning love? This is to everybody. What if you stopped questioning love and doubting love and interrogating love and giving it an interview and like, maybe I'll hire you, love. I might do that. We'll see. How would you handle this? You're going to hurt me, love. It's scary to stop making something bad and something good. It's frightening. It's frightening. We have this innate belief that when we're present and on the guard against badness, that's wise. But what if after a certain point you've succeeded so much in defeating the badnesses around you that it's time to focus on your garden? It's time to focus on what you're growing. And sustained vigilance is almost like singing a song, bringing the badness back. To be the person who responds to tragedy and challenge when it's time, and then sets that down and grows the love that you want to grow. This is the dream. Ryan. Ryan, then Cosmic Man here. Sorry, I bounced past. Whoa. Woo. So you're saying you're ready to yourself, and you're right. That's it. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm not being mean. It's the best way that I know. Sarah. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Cosmic Man. Then Sarah. You have a strong pattern of spiritual bypassing in your life. I'm going to say this as a suggestion. Consider changing Cosmic Man. Be here. You have a pattern of spiritual bypassing, which means you've gone into spiritual depths now, partly in avoidance of pain of the past. Now, look, that is awesome. You learn to be strong enough to manage the pain from your past, but you're only managing it and it's not fully healing. So now it's time to come back. Be here. You develop the strength to do this. You develop the daring to go big and broad and deep. It's not deeper that's going to work now. You were striving to go deeper than your pain and confusion from the past. You succeeded. Now it's maladaptive to be Cosmic Man. Be here and say, okay, look, I know now. Be the person who knows how to out wrestle your pain, and now be more loving in how you do it. Be present in how you do it, and pray. Like, how do we really heal this? You need to hold that prayer. Do it for a week and check in. That's it. Sarah. Mary Magdalene is the light that embraces the darkness. So think of the darkest dark. Now give that to her. Now realize she's the light that will never be defeated by that. If when you're in your darkest dark, you pray Mary, 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 and know her as the Black Widow that she is, and then you'll be able to trust her until you learn to open your eyes and see the light, because the light's already there. That's her teaching. Okay, it's moving fast now. So I'm going down. Bobby. There's a prayer to be an actor that I would suggest you move past. You have more dynamic skills than that. There's a need for appreciation I would suggest you put down. You need real connection, not didactic, not just from you to other people, but back and forth. You have a genuine mission, and it's the only thing that's really going to keep you inspired. You know this, but it's still sort of, your mission is masquerading in your head as one among many voices at the table. You need to give your mission the priority. There we go. Yes, it's scary. But envision the possibility that your mission is so thoroughly the priority that you no longer have to be in the struggle between the different possibilities. It's going to be far more liberating to embrace Yes, there's a like, whoa kind of energy. Like, whoa, yes. Embrace it. Want it. Want it. Want it. Don't just want the clarity, want the passion that you get to feel when you're like, yes, I'm aligned. That's you. Janie, welcome. Man, see, this is I want to do this so much more. It's like I need to have someone on the phone telling me what the questions are. Ah, you don't honor. You don't. One of the primary lessons of history, which I assure you is only a little section. It's not a side story, but it's just so contained. Earth is so much more. Imagine history as a petal in a flower. Earth is so much more. As we become exposed to the many lifetimes we've lived and loved, the most powerful feelings cut through first. So remembering the need of a child is like, ooh. And one of the most powerful lessons of history is how to let go, how to be here and let go, and be here and let go, and be here and let go. When we're tuned to bodies, it's such an incredibly ridiculous choice to make from a spiritual perspective, from a solar perspective. To be your spirit in a body is like, oh, there's so much pain. And so the love and the need within these ranges of pain is so poignant and so different. It's such an intense bond. Going through the earth is like going through a rite of passage in a certain sense, cosmically. Once you did that, whew, to remember your children, to remember their need, breathe with it. They grew up. Breathe with it. They still exist. They're grown. They're adults. They're many lifetimes. They've lived those. They're not children. Now, if you hear the need of children now, go to Gaia and say, are they my children now? Is this my need to meet now? Some animals leave their children because they know that child needs to find the instincts to survive. Some animals are wired that way. Some people will not make progress if they rely upon you when it's time for them to stand. And if they simply cannot be balanced, backed off to the point where they accept your boundaries, sometimes you need to let them be. You need to let them go. Janie. Wait, there's something else. Honor. There is a dynamic experience between remembering and forgetting. We remember what we need to, but not necessarily for the reasons we think we do. So to say repeatedly, I remember this. I know I was this person. I know I was this mother. I know I was this warrior. And then to go to the earth and say, what would you have me retain? What do you see in the way I need to see this past? And to trust, you'll remember what you need to remember. And as you release, if you release something you need to be present with more, it'll nag at you. And if you allow this process, you will retain whatever you need to from the past. You will draw it into who you are now, and you will let go in a way that allows you to be who you already are right now. There you go. There, heavy heart. Make them stand up for themselves. Make them find their own food. You can't feed that many children. Get some joy in there. Challenge them. All good mothers do. Okay, where are we? Janie. You're working too hard. It's like, imagine Gaia's calling you to say, get your feet on the ground, touch the earth, feel me feeding you through the earth. And you hear the call and you start to build an oil drill because you think you have to do all the work to get really, really deep down there to receive the energy. You're missing her. She's calling you to this, but let yourself change to, like, she wants you to walk barefoot. And as you feel your feet drawing strength from the earth, a lot of people have feet problems because the earth is trying to feed you, and you're so tuned to a different vibration that you experience this as like dissonant every time. And to say, like, look, this is not an equal engagement. You're going to let the earth bless you with her strength. You're drawing light. It's light. You're drawing light, life force up from the roots of the earth, and you're becoming what this enables you to be. And you're letting everything else dissolve and reform. Whew, feels good. So much better. So much better. Do that more. Honor, I want to say, I do think to some extent you're gripping onto the loudest noise and it's protecting you from something else. I think you're avoiding pain from this life that's more immediate by thinking about these things. And you are supposed to be a bridge. You are supposed to be this vibrant. You have been ripped apart so that you will be as big and beautiful as it takes to be at this level. But to be this fully, you need to be present with the pains you've been through recently, 3 years ago. It's Look at that. Look at 3 years ago. Don't use spirituality to avoid such things. Spirituality gives us the strength and presence to face it with a deeper awareness of who we are, a deeper strength to be present, to commit to the love it takes to heal. Stare right at you, yo. We believe in you. Tom reading. Tom, I know you as someone who went really, really early in a very difficult space. And it's like you forged through a wilderness and you left a path, and it was more fleeting than you would want. But how can you measure whether it was anything other than what it was supposed to be? Like, I really appreciate you for being who you are. I think that's what you need to hear the most. I think you could do more work to pray in these frightening open-ended prayers of, Gaia, show me what I most need to heal and give me the strength and commitment to do it. Like things like that. Like, I put that out as a dare to myself constantly, and it's usually pretty gentle now. I do think there's one or two things that would get at that are not as bad as you think. There we go. I think more would be less. I love you, Tom. Next, rec reading. What does that mean? BEC. Oh, who's BEC? I want to know. Y'all need Jesus. We've got Jesus. Jesus is very much here, Mr. Judgmental person. Or maybe you're being kind. I'm sorry. I don't mean to project. It's great to say you all need Jesus, but, we have Jesus. We love Jesus. There are lots of ways to love Jesus. Who is BEC? All right. What is it? What is it? What is it? This is beautiful. Something cool is coming through, peoples. I'll do a reading on BEC if somebody tells me who BEC is. There really is a lot more fun to be had in the future. What if that was the most important thing a lot of people need to hear? What if you need to see a future with a lot of fun in it? Doesn't mean there won't be pain, doesn't mean there won't be drama, doesn't mean you won't have to face this again or that again. So many people over the course of your lives get laden with these unconscious prayers to say you go through a pain and you're like, I never want to do that again. Well, okay, cool. But if you just keep going, but I never want to do that again, but you promised not to do that. You don't want to keep doing that. Every time you get into a high, clear space, if you scream out, make sure you never give me that kind of breakup again, people are like, don't let them go up there again. We don't want to listen to that shit. It's happened to me. It's embarrassing. And if you don't know what I mean, be present with this. There's a lot of joy in the future. Don't pray for the pain and the drama to go away completely. Of course, you want it to. Pray to be good at handling it. So you whittle it down each time. So you're not as afraid each time. So you're more confident each time. So you see a blessing in the experience, even when it sucks. If you see a blessing in an experience while you're going through it, whew. So first you got to look backwards, find the blessings you missed, just a couple of them. What's a blessing in the middle of the dark pits of your past? Find it. And the next time you go through a dark, maybe you'll find it while you're there. And that makes it all the more powerful. Good stuff. Becca. You have a fascinating mind, Becca. Something about cactuses? Turning point in the cactuses. You've become a different person in the past, like there's a very deep transition. Maybe it's just metaphorical. Like you went through a desert time, you went through a drought of life. Things didn't make sense. There wasn't a lot of love, attention to appreciate that this was designed to put you in touch with the divine, to look backwards in the manner I was just, and be present. This was a time to put you in touch with the divine, and you did it. And it looks like you're resonating with a lot of brilliance since then in a way that you could see a before and after and be like, you go, Becca, good for you. And we're saying that right now. Becca went through a really challenging and awakening time. She made it through the desert afterwards. Good job, Rebecca. Oh, I'm sorry. BEC is right there. I hadn't seen you post, so I didn't know you were. I didn't know that's what I could tune into. Well done, Becca. You don't need to hear more than that. You need to stay with that. Your problem would be you'd move on to the next challenge immediately, right? Yeah, but you're diligent and you're committed and you're going to. I know. Good job. Really good job. Rachel Lee. Yeah, that's a kind of interesting thing, Rachel Lee. And it's a take, put yourself out as service. I would suggest that people take this in different directions. When you start receiving intuitions like that, there is this spiritual dance happening where you become a conduit that can pass through, help spark people's light, reawaken them. I encourage you to develop conscious ways to do it. I'm not disavowing the butterfly effect, which is like be someone who moves around a lot and blesses people wherever you go in this. It's gorgeous. And conscientiousness helps. I have found frustration where I will see medicine for others, I will receive medicine for others, but they're not ready to take it. So it becomes a struggle in a way that if you clarify just some etiquette to how you're willing to share, Rachel, and improve it I know you have some, but improve it, the clarity of it, and are willing to say, hey, to those who are not ready to be present with this, I can't hold a burden to help you. You do this, and you would fly more freely if you were more careful to don't take up burdens that aren't going to come through. Good job. Wow. Oh, yeah, definitely. Arizona. I told you I saw a cactus. Go there. Yes. That's awesome. I love it. Yes. Cactus, good. It's intense. It will, yes. And check in, please, because that looks intense. That's good. We're here. We have a community you could tune into too, by the way. The Wildflower Sanctuary is available, wildflowerfire.com community. We talk a lot. We share a lot more. I post a lot and do channelings there that I will not share broadly. The more people who join, the more we'll have special offerings. I'm having so much trouble reading today. Could you a reading for me, please? Emiliano. So imagine you have an overgrown shed covered in vines. Things are breaking. The burden on the roof is creating holes. You could pray for freedom and just be done with it. Leave, you know. You could also get up on a ladder, get a rake, pull back the vines, get them all off, take the root them out from the root, cut them away, put them under a tarp, then go back and fix the holes. Life is always a tension between these two opportunities. If you see them both as opportunities and they're like, okay, which is really the best way? I think you'd work better. Because right now you're screaming for freedom from the past, from a form of suffering you've been in, and to appreciate that freedom could come by turning around and going right at it and changing it. And that would be the freedom of no longer having to be afraid of it because you know how to handle it next time. Certainly you'll be better at handling it next time. And I would suggest that's already true. If you turn around, just take a breath, look at your past and say, you're already going to be better at handling that if it comes again, because you went through it. So truly, sometimes it's time to leave. Sometimes it's time to stay. Sometimes it's time to hold on. Sometimes it's time to let go. All right. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Bless you, Emiliano. Thank you, ma'am. Peoples, thank you for being here. It's a good dynamic day. I enjoyed doing readings today. We're about to go do a meditation together in the community, in the Wildflower Sanctuary. Wildflowerfire.com, tab community. Welcome in. Come visit. Much love. Anything else? No, I didn't miss anybody, right? Oh, okay. Sarthik. I'd love to. Your name ran through my head earlier. I'm glad I caught you. We will all be blessed, Sarthik, if I do a better job of explaining this pattern than I typically do. There's a way that this could be simple and clear, and it's something that many go through, that you've been through in the past. I can see someone in your past, I can see a pain in the past, and I can see you working to forgive them. And it's sort of at a I'm not angry with them anymore place. To be able to transcend that into a space of to be able to look at the pain of the past and look at the way you saw people who you loved. You love someone who hurt you. This is a common dance. You love them, they're in deep, they're present with you, and then it changed and you got really badly hurt. And you see a freeze frame of them at that time, having whooshed into your space, into your mind. You couldn't get away from it mentally and emotionally. And so then there's a wrestling match for years to forgive them. But to be able to go back into the past and say, this tore you apart. Thank you for healing me. Thank you for healing me. Thank you for breaking my heart. Thank you for tearing me apart. Thank you for healing me. Thank you for healing me. I sing this song to some people from my past who I've suffered a lot with, and I encourage you to consider doing the same. I love you all. I'll see you soon.